Before the rivers carved their path through the red soil, before the baobab trees learned to stretch their mighty arms, before the moon first sang to the night, there was a whisper in the winds of northern Nigeria. A child will come who will command both peace and war. That child was Amina, daughter of Queen Zazao of the Hausa kingdom of Zaria. And this is her story. The story of courage, destiny, and a woman who refused to kneel when the world expected her to bow. Amina was born during a storm so fierce that even the palace guards hid under their shields. Thunder cracked like a talking drum gone mad. Lightning danced across the sky like restless spirits. When Amina arrived, the storm stopped. Silence fell on the palace. Her grandmother, Inna Kande, lifted the newborn and whispered, "This one carries fire in her bones." As Amina grew, she was nothing like the gentle princess the court had expected. She climbed trees taller than the palace towers. She raced the royal horses barefoot. She wrestled boys twice her size and beat them. One day, after defeating 3 palace guards in mock combat, her mother sighed, "Amina, my daughter, why can't you behave more like a princess?" Amina only smiled. "Mama, the blood in my body refuses to sit in one place." By the time Amina turned 12, the city of Zaria bustled with travelers. Traders from Kano, warriors from Katsina, leather workers from Sokoto. Markets smelled of spices, roasted corn and tanned hides. Drums echoed every morning, calling warriors to train. Amina watched them with shining eyes. She wanted to join. But tradition said, a princess must stay behind walls. Amina said, "Walls are for goats, not for lions." One dawn, she snuck into the warrior's field with a wooden spear she carved herself. When the men tried to chase her away, she stood firm. "Who are you?" the trainer barked. "Amina, daughter of Queen Zazao." The warriors gasped. The trainer frowned. "Princess, war is not for women." Amina spun the spear and disarmed him in one swift motion. Silence. Then one warrior whispered, "The spirits were right. She has fire." From that day on, the warriors bowed to her not as a princess but as one of their own. At 16, Amina was already feared in mock battles and loved in the palace. But trouble stalked the kingdom. The rival kingdom of Kwano demanded tribute. 200 bags of grain, 50 slaves, and Amina's younger brother Bello as hostage. Queen Zazao refused. War drums echoed across the savannah. Amina begged the queen, "Let me fight." The elders laughed. "A woman on the battlefield?" Amina knelt before her mother. "Mother, you know the truth. My spirit was born for this." Queen Zazao touched her daughter's cheek. "Go then, and return with honor." On the day of battle, the sky was grey and heavy. Kwano's warriors marched like a wall of iron. Amina rode a chestnut horse named Karami. Her spear shone in the sun. During the clash, when Zaria's lines began to break, Amina surged forward like a storm revived. She shattered Kwano's flank. She rescued trapped soldiers. She fought until her spear broke, then used her bare hands. By sunset, Kwano fled in terror. The soldiers lifted her high and chanted, "Amina, daughter of the storm! Amina, the woman who fights like 20 men!" And so the legend began. When Queen Zazao died, the council gathered to choose her successor. Elders pushed for Bello. They whispered that tradition required a man. But the warriors stood as one. No throne without Amina, no crown without fire. The people chanted her name across the city. And so at age 24, Amina became Queen of Zaria. She wore no heavy gold crown, only a simple leather band engraved with the symbol of the lioness. During her coronation, she declared, "I will expand this kingdom until arrows fall short of its borders. I will build walls so strong that fear itself will flee." The people roared in approval. Queen Amina did not rest. She led her army across the Hausa lands, Tano, Katsina, Bauchi, Nupe, Igala country. Her horse thundered across savanna and forest. Her voice carried above the clash of steel. Her army grew larger with every victory. She built the famous Amina walls, long earthen fortifications still remembered today. She negotiated peace where she could. But when diplomacy failed, the earth trembled beneath her marching warriors. One night while her army camped near the Benue River, Amina walked alone by the water. She felt the weight of leadership pressing on her shoulders. A voice spoke from behind her. "You carry too much, Queen of Zaria." It was Dogo Danladi, a mysterious wanderer merchant with a calm smile and eyes like night water. They talked till dawn, about duty, about freedom, about the loneliness of power. For the first time, Amina laughed like a girl instead of a queen. But fate is a river that refuses to run backward. At sunrise, Danladi prepared to leave. "Come with me," she said softly. "I cannot," he replied. "My path is the wind, not the throne." Amina watched him disappear into the forest. Her heart hardened, not with anger, but with acceptance. A ruler's heart, she whispered, must belong to her people. Years passed. Enemies gathered in secret. The Fulani warlord Mallam Gambayan formed a coalition of rival kingdoms determined to end Amina's reign. They attacked in waves, first Katsina, then Gober, then the southern river kingdoms. Amina returned to Zaria, preparing for the greatest war of her life. She called her generals, she called her blacksmiths, she called her riders, archers, shield-bearers. Then she climbed the city walls and shouted to her people, "If we stand together, no enemy can break us. If we fall apart, even a child can defeat us. Choose your destiny." The city roared. The war began. The enemy coalition descended like a swarm of locusts. Their drums thundered for 3 days. Amina met them in the plains outside Zaria. The battle raged from dawn to sunset. Amina fought like a whirlwind, spear, sword, shield, bare fists. But the enemy was endless. Her horse was struck, her spear snapped. Still she stood. "Queen Amina," her general cried, "you must retreat." She shook her head. A leader does not retreat while her people bleed. At the height of the battle, she spotted Gimbayan, the enemy leader. Amina charged towards him weaponless. He drew his sword and laughed. "A woman thinks she can kill me." Amina seized the blade with her bare hand, ignoring the blood. She headbutted him. He fell. She took his sword and raised it high. Zaria's soldiers roared and surged forward with new strength. The enemy cracked and fled. Amina collapsed, exhausted but victorious. Her generals carried her back to the city as the people cried, "Amina, mother of courage." Amina ruled for many years after that battle. She built trading routes, she strengthened the walls of Zaria. She trained women in the arts of horse riding, archery, and leadership. And she told every girl, "Your spirit is not a prisoner. Your destiny is not a kitchen. Your dreams are not too heavy." When she grew old, she rode one last time across the land she had united. Villages welcomed her with songs. Children touched her horse for luck. Elders blessed her path. Some say she did not die like ordinary rulers. Some say she vanished into a storm, the same kind that welcomed her at birth. Some say her spirit still rides across the plains whenever courage is needed. They say if you stand on the old Amina walls at sunset, you might hear a faint whisper in the wind. "Rise, fear nothing, your strength is older than the mountains." And that is the story of Amina, daughter of the storm, the woman fighter who refused to kneel.